that was recharged in some other watershed far from here and is discharged here. So it kind of moves underneath the watershed boundary deep in the ground from one recharge area to a distant discharge area. So it pops up here.
They physically reach the water because they need to dip their bottles in for their water samples and rinse the bottles out and flush them out multiple times. And they're trying to get, they want to measure the content of organic matter in DOC, I will say it that way, DOC, and then also the amount of inorganic carbon that's in the water, DIC, and he's measuring alkalinity, so how many OH minuses there are in there. And then I'm going to take my system down there, then when they're done breathing there and the air has moved out, and then I'm going to sample the air that's coming up off of the stream, we think, and it might have evidence of carbon that's come down with the water from the volcanic source.
Collect the water sample from the stream. That sounds pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
Well, now we've been here 10 minutes, and just now we're lucky enough to find a board to place on this mud, and we're just now at the place where we can sort of perilously perch on this muddy, slippery board and hope to get a sample without ending up in the stream. And actually I've kind of disturbed it, so we need to wait a little while. Everything takes way longer in a rainforest.
And it's starting to rain too.
Yeah, that's always good.
What we're doing today is to see, how the carbon actually measured in the stream water compares to or relates to the carbon CO2 in the air overlying the stream, which is what Steve's working on measuring, the air, the CO2 in the air. I want to try to make that connection between the water and the air, which then connects to the plants. I'm Dave Genereux. I'm a faculty member at NC State, and we're here in La Selva, where I've been working for 14 years now. I've been coming here studying different aspects of the hydrology, the groundwater flow, and the current project is related to the link between the groundwater flow, the hydrologic cycle, and the carbon cycle. So we're studying how much carbon is moving into and through and out of the watersheds with the water that moves into and out of the watersheds. Interesting thing here, the pH is 5.64, which is pretty acidic, and yet there's a lot of alkalinity in this stream. And what that tells you is that alkalinity is being offset by a lot of CO2, which is a weak acid. And that's why the pH is so low, even though the alkalinity is high, is that there's a lot of CO2 in there.
My name is Chris Osburn. I'm a professor at North Carolina State University, and I'm studying with these guys organic matter cycles in these streams, and how where we have this CO2 coming in from this deep bedrock groundwater, if it's making it into the modern food web. So what I can do is I can take water samples and then filter the water, and then look at the carbon that's in the particles, and then it's also in the stuff that goes through the filter, the DOC, or dissolved, and that tells us something about where the carbon's going. And so we're interested in seeing not how much CO2 kind of comes out of the stream or gets exported through the stream, but also how much gets into the modern stream food web. My favorite hobby as a kid was playing guitar, so there's a few steps removed. But I'm really interested in organic matter in wherever I can find it, and so I usually work in streams in North Carolina and other kind of more temperate zones where there's a lot of stuff, a lot of carbon. Sometimes it looks very dark. You hear like blackwater rivers or kind of tea-colored streams and lakes. So I'm really interested in that, and these systems have almost none of that. So it's really interesting to me to sample systems like this, because they're very different from most of the streams and estuaries I work on.
Still play the guitar?
Yes.
Good.
When I was like in high school,
Yeah, the kind of mid-70s,
yeah, it's like
mid-70s, and well, I mean, obviously it was building.
The DO was about, I think, 60% saturation, and 100% would mean that it's in equilibrium with the atmosphere. So if it's less than that, generally means that there's more respiration going on. So the stream's kind of like breathing more. Again, balanced against photosynthesis, which if there was like a lot of algae growing, we might measure greater than 100% saturation for dissolved oxygen. so it's low. So one of the things I'm interested in is seeing how efficiently organic matter is respired or eaten by the microbes in these streams. And we can get a sense of that by looking at the carbon properties, organic carbon properties.
Hi, I'm Steve Oberbauer. I'm a professor of biological sciences at Florida International University in Miami, Florida, or the public university in Miami. And I first came to La Selva in 1979 on Organization for Tropical Studies Fundamentals of Tropical Ecology field course. And then after that course I stayed on for 2 months working here and then at a dry site trying to compare wet forests and dry forests. I've been coming back ever since. Probably what got me actually into the tropics, I've always had a love of the tropics from watching television, I suppose. I hate to admit this, and I'm sure I've admitted this before, but Tarzan movies were probably influential in my life. I'm going to take my system down there, then when they're done breathing there and the air has moved out, and then I'm going to sample the air that's coming up off of the stream, we think, and it might have evidence of carbon that's come down with the water from the volcanic sources, the rainfall sources upslope there. Okay, well, the concentration here, I'm measuring just above the stream, the inlet's back here, and it's reading now 570 ppm, which is probably 120 higher than I would expect if it were just somewhere in the forest. That's parts per million.
And you fell in love here.
Oh, yeah, I met my wife here. That's correct.
Yeah.
Jungle love, as she likes to say.
That's great.
Hey, need a hand?
Yeah. You can't tell by the knee in the water there.
It doesn't show, but the researcher's lost his right leg to the beard crocodile, but he's all right.